Okay. I don't know what's with this new setup, but for some reason the studio looks different on my end. Don't know why. Don't know why, but it's fine. Okay, so that is beside the point. So I'm starting a little early today. So um I will come back tomorrow and do whatever I missed, but I was just studying and I don't want to be sitting here for a really long time. So let's just, I was here and I forgot to turn on um, forgot to turn this on. And so I saw a trade happening here because I had sat down earlier and I was like, And then, yeah, I was like, oh, that's a trade. But then I was like, oh no, maybe it isn't. But then I remembered. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So where are we? What happened? So let's just calculate. Where's my here we go. Every time I gotta go try to let me just see if I can pull up this because trying to my default is always wrong. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna bring this over in 2 seconds. Okay. Huh? Oh, sorry. Ba-bum, bum, ba-bum, bum. Yeah, my sound is almost never on, so it's weird when it is. Okay, so we're doing Sunday, so everything starting since we opened, which would be right there. Okay, so first one would have been a short here, so let's look at that. Short right there, which you would not have taken because all of this is green. So there's one that you would have not taken. It's good. Okay. This is the one I saw earlier, right here. Oops. And then we had a pullback and a nice continuation. So that's one. And then we had this one right here where we had a pullback and the continuation, which is good. Although this was red. Um, so if you were not taking it because this was red, then that would have been a no trade. And then this one, bum, 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 bum. We had this, and then we had a big pullback where we created a whole nother break. So this one you would not have taken either. So that would be one and potentially two that you would not take. Yeah, honestly, I can't remember if I was doing green or not. Like this the bottom has to be green. I don't remember. I honestly don't know. Okay. One or two, I don't know. I'm turning the sound off. I can't. Okay. Okay, um so yeah, I mean the biggest thing and I think the biggest takeaway is we want to see a trend and then a pullback and a continuation. That's really what is my okay, for some reason when I'm sitting here and I'm streaming, my um my light will turn on. My little because I have this my desk has a light on it and it turns on. This is the second time it's done that. I don't know if this is the plug. I'm unplugging stuff now. Okay, that was wrong. It was the wrong plug. Goodness. Okay, I don't know what is with that. I don't know if we lost complete signal for a minute. I think we might have. but it's all good. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Hey, buddy. So, yeah, and so trying to look for, clean trends and not sideways choppy trends is key in this strategy. But um hey, little guy, what you doing in there? That's not food, Pop. He's eating paper. Paper, I say. Okay. But yeah, so I also brought this up because I wanted to do some comparison, comparison to how the indice moves versus um one second. This is all the way over here. Okay. I just wanted to do some comparison, so I brought this over as well. But it's whatever. So yeah, this is the NQ, but I'm only looking at this for comparison's sake, not for we're not trading, don't worry. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not changing anything. I'm just looking for the best, the best of the best of the setups, right? Because, this works well with clean trends. When there's a clean trend and you get a pullback, like for example, we're getting, if you can see it, we're getting a nice pullback and hopefully a continuation. And so you'd be looking for that continuation on this. This is gold. But, maybe, just maybe, we don't get that continuation. I don't know. But what I do know is that nothing is set in stone and everything can always have improvement. That is for certain. Everything can always be improved upon. Um, so like here, if this was a nice downtrend, then you'd be looking, but I don't know. So we're still getting our raw data, just raw numbers, but what I am looking to do is doing a couple of things is because you see how I mean Friday was just like a bad day. Like it was and I don't know if it was that day and the rest of them are gonna not be so horrible, but Friday was a really, really choppy bad day with everything very close to the EMA, and it was not having a good time. So with respect to that, you know, I need to potentially have filters that are filtering out potentially choppy days, so we don't even end up getting caught up in that whole mess. Because remember the window that I trade would have had three in a row, and two of them were the first two were bad, right? So yeah, it's I don't know. Ugh, it's very interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, once we can, because right now we're doing this, like we're determining trend based off of obviously colors, but obviously the MACD, and there may be something better out there that we can use, um, to determine. I mean, you're not gonna sometimes just looking at it visually is gonna be your best bet, but and there's gonna have to be some discretion, but it has to be measurable, otherwise these numbers are arbitrary. um like maybe, for example, I'm just saying, for example, maybe we have to reach a point down here. I'm just spitballing some ideas, so it's just thinking out loud. I don't like this. I don't like looking at this. It's the it's my stream, but it just looks weird. Okay. So, anyways, so here's what I'm thinking, okay? What if we wait for example, oversold and we're below the MA, right? So then we look for a reversal back to the upside, but we're still waiting for maybe a certain number of bricks, like maybe three, or maybe it has to reach this, or maybe it has to surpass it before you wait for a pullback. Maybe. I don't know. So this one, look what just happened. What just happened? Okay. So this one, for example, we wait for a overbought and then we sell down. Okay. Now you wait for a pullback. See, I don't know. I don't know. But maybe there's other ways for um trying to find some sort, like something that's a reoccurring something that's reoccurring, right? That doesn't necessarily rely on this colors and whatnot. Like maybe, I don't know. Okay, like here's one. Where's this? Right here. Scroll. Okay, so here's one. And I don't know. Just having some ideas, but here, for example, we're oversold and we bought up a lot. We had a slight pullback, and then you enter for a buy. Yes, it's going against the overall trend, technically, but I mean, I don't know. Because I really want to capture the explosive momentum without sitting in messes that look like this. Um, and so trying to capture, okay, what's what's a key thing? Okay, now it's not gonna be accurate the further back you go. I think that was the last bit of accuracy. So I'm trying to pay attention to patterns and things so that I can see, okay, for example, we're buying up, and then, you get a nice little pullback, and then you just go. Like maybe you just look for like a one and go when you see, you know, movement. I don't know. I don't know. But that's what we're trying oops that's what we're trying to get in on, is actual movement that doesn't stall and turn into chop. Because yeah, you're gonna get a lot of signals. Oh, enter here, here, potential continuation, but then they don't continue, right? So instead of using a brick as a measure, I guess what I'm getting at is, instead of using a brick as a measure of a potential continuation, looking at structure to measure a potential continuation, right? Like what is the structure telling you that's saying, okay, maybe we're going to continue? Like for example, here we came down, and maybe we're trying to follow this, maybe there's a trend line forming up, and maybe it's going to be kind of a wide choppy range. I don't know, but maybe we're biased green here and we're looking for a pullback and a continuation. So that's where my head's at, is looking for, I really want to look for pullbacks and continuations, um, because I think I've spent so long trying to trade reversals. I had a whole reversal strategy and they never work. They just never work. So I would like to I'd like to be trading with the trend and seeing the trend and being able to trade with it versus getting chopped up over here because I was waiting for a brick to change color, because what does that even do, really? So I'm sorry, you probably can't see. um yeah, because what does that even do? You're waiting for a brick to change color. See, like here, entering here instead of waiting for um instead of, I don't even know waiting for what. um bum, 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 bum. But yeah, that's where my head's at as far as um strategy, etc. is trying to see, and there it goes. But he's trying to expand on on the strategy instead of, because right now the mode to enter is literally based off of a brick changing color. So my whole thing is, I want to pin it down. I want to pin it down to a couple of things, and let me write these out. So I want to pin it down and by structure. So structure. I feel like that's how you spell it. Okay. Instead of entering based off of, oh, this brick changed color, therefore potential entry, right? Because then you have things like this. Oh, it changed color, potential entry, potential Y, right? Instead of that, looking at structure such as, okay, we came up, we came down, we rejected this, and now we're pushing up with some momentum. Okay. But yeah, so looking at structure and then filtering by market context instead of instead of indicators, right? So instead of filtering by indicator, we filter by market context. So instead of filtering and saying, okay, this has to be red and this has to correspond with this red one, and that has to be red and that has to this and the positive, whatever. You can go on. But instead, filtering by the market context, such as, okay, we're waiting on, and I think I wrote this down. Did I write this down? I feel like I should have. Okay, one second. Because I had like a whole brainstorming session, and so I need to remember what I did. Hmm. Okay, I don't remember. I have to try to find it. But yeah, filtering based off of the market context, such as so I'll say, for example, um news. um Actually, news is a big one, because sometimes on no news days, you're not going to get a lot of movement, or pre-news days, you don't get a lot of movement because people are like, what's the news going to do? And then it's like on news days, after, like post news, where you start seeing the most movement and momentum. So filtering based on context like that. Let me see. What are some ways to filter by market context instead of filtering with indicators? We're filtering with market context, such as news, and what other things could we look for to filter our trading days? Let's see. Just ask Chat GPT. Okay, blah blah blah, etc. etc. Mm-hmm. Yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh yeah, that's the other one. That's what I was talking about. Okay, so I was talking about opening rate. Did I write this down somewhere? I feel like I did. I feel like we've been over this. Okay. So opening range breaks, things like that, because that's what a lot of people will look at in the morning, is to look at the opening range and then breaks, and then that's when people decide, okay, now I'm gonna get in, right? So looking at things like that to determine, that's more intraday, but looking at things like that to determine, okay, are we going to see movement today? or no, right? Because if we're not going to see movement and things are indecisive, then you're going to see things like this. And if things like this are happening, you don't want to get in, right? So if you can see, oh, it's a non-news day, um, it's the beginning of the week, or maybe it's the end of the week, there's no break of whatever, might not have a whole lot of buyers or sellers interested, well, let's just stay out of the market today. Things like that. Mm, yeah, because that's the thing. The market goes through a lot of, not every day is a good day to trade, right? Sometimes the market is trending. Um, sometimes it's ranging. Sometimes there's a lot of indecision. Sometimes there's a lot of expansion, etc. And so trying to determine that pre so that you're not getting in and being like, oh, today's a good day to see what happens. Like, no. So, I'm just gonna put dot because I don't know what the rest of them are. Um, oh yes, that's the other one. Why do I feel like I wrote this down and then I don't remember where I put it? Okay, volume is another one. Looking at volume, because if there's low volume, then you're not gonna get a whole lot of movement, especially at overnight. Yeah, there's some lower volume overnight. Um, but volume is another one. Okay, so and then as far as structure, okay, so as far as structure, currently we are we don't really have a structure. Basically, um, we look at the MACD and say, okay, there's the colors, everything lines up. So, I'm seeing a potential entry, a potential continuation, but the potential continuations are not based off of market structure. And so we need to pinpoint a specific structure that we want to see before we look at taking a trade, not just any old potential entry, right? Because what was something I was saying before was either you're getting in the middle of a trend, you're getting in early, or you're getting in at the end and it's completely reversing, which is what happened at least twice on Friday is what I was seeing, was that these trades were completely like the entries were valid, but yet it was at the end of something, and it was specifically when the market was ranging, and so you get in at the top and then it would come all the way back down. So um yeah, so looking at a specific structure instead of entering at any old potential, oh, that could work. Yeah. So structure, what types of structures do we want to see as far as, because where's my chart? I have a chart and it has like different things, different what is it? Different like chart analysis patterns. What's a specific, maybe a pattern that you look for specifically, but then we'd have to be able to um, quantify it. But yeah, so let's see what ideas we get. Where is my chart pattern? I have no idea. I had one. When I first started trading, I was very much like, I need to have all the charts and things and whatnot. And now I'm just like, I don't know where half of that stuff went. Okay, let's see. Mm, because yes, you see a break flip, there's a high chance of a continuation, 70%, whatever. So the percentages of continuation is actually high. So it's not like it's a bad thing. It's quantifiable, but there's no structure to it, right? There's no structure to that. And so you can't interpret, oh, this changed, the color changed, therefore it should continue. Like on a statistical level, okay, it seems like it works, but there's no why behind it. And so when it doesn't work, there's no why. It's just oh, well, okay, I guess it didn't work that time. But then when you have three of those in a row, like you had here, then it starts to, then it's not as fun to look at because you're like, wait a second, something's wrong. Because, if this is happening and then we're taking long, 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 and then we just drop, right? What are we missing? And then let's say you took a short here, but then we just decided to shoot up. Okay. And then let's say you took along here, but then it decided to drop. So again, what kind of structure? Looking for some structure instead of a continuation. Uh, and then looking for the structure and then the continuation to complete the structure instead of just looking for continuation breaks. So what do we have? So yeah, looking for price breaks, price breakouts. Um, yeah, price breakouts. Let me write that down. Price. Well, why is there a space? Okay, price break. Let me just say breakout. What else? Yeah, so that's just one idea, but there's more. We will work on this as time moves. I just made that smaller so it's not blaringly. I don't think anybody can see it honestly because it's on the other side of my screen. Okay, that's fine. So, but yeah, anyways, um, so yeah, it's a lot of different things um to consider to work with. Um, but yes, I really wanna because this works. Enter, you know exactly where you want your stop loss and all of that stuff to be. I don't know what happened there. Okay, your stop loss and everything, you know where everything needs to be. But the problem and the big problem is that um, you know, we're getting in. I mean, and this is the issue, right? Is because something can work when it's ranging. I mean, sorry, when it's trending, and then the strategy works beautifully. But when it's ranging or when there's indecisiveness, um, or when we're hugging this moving average, and then you get all these signals, you don't want that, right? And so I want a very specific, this is what I'm trading, this is what I'm looking for, so that I don't get caught up in all the stuff, right? One thing I hear a lot of professional, like the six-figure traders say is they don't trade every single day. They trade a few times. They maybe trade maybe once a week, maybe a few times a month, but they don't trade all the time. And it's because they're looking for a very specific setup. And so I want A plus setups. I don't want, oh, it looks good, so guess I'm gonna take it. It's green, so I'm gonna take it. Even when the contrary speaks to Warren Chop, or and this failed 1, 2, you really want to take that third one, although the third one was the only good one. So it's like, yeah. And I'm only saying the third one was the good one on the 10 tick, not on the 20. But you know, I would really like to. I'd like to trade with a little bit more precision than fingers crossed and a hope and a prayer. So, on that note, why do I hear sirens? You know, one early morning, I heard tires squealing, and I was like, sounds like someone's doing burnouts or whatever. Not burnouts, but like drifting or whatever. And then guess what? I was driving today and I seen like in the middle of the intersection at the light over there, there's like someone was clearly doing donuts, and I was just like, what the heck? Anyways, what happened? So, yes, our verse of the day is gonna be Sorry. Okay. Because we're into that Christmas season. Verse of the day is in Luke 1, 46 to 47. And Mary said, my soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior. Yeah, I mean, it's Christmas, so they're gonna give a lot of Christmassy type verses. Um, after this new year, well, once the new year starts, I would really, really love to like find a Bible study group, church thing. I don't know. I've been saying that. I found one, but then what happened with that? I don't know. Anyways, so that's gonna be on my list of things that I want to do. Anyways, that's all I have. I don't know. That's all I got. I'll come back on Monday night, and I will go over everything that happened for the rest of today. Um, yeah, basically I'll go over everything that happened the rest of the day, and then, I mean, the rest of the night, and then all of yesterday and tomorrow. I'm gonna be kind of busy. So I don't think I'm gonna put a little note here. I'm gonna say start charting at 1941. Yeah, this stream is really short, guys. I'm not playing. I need to go. Okay. Um do 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 do. I think that should stay. Okay. That is a lot of sirens. Lot of sirens. All right. Was watching this movie. It was really bad, and I stopped watching it because it was that bad. And yeah. I don't know. We might leave this up for a minute so I can chill for a second. Okay. I will we'll think about this for a minute and I'll be back. All right, so that's gonna be a wrap for me today. Yeah, I don't know. Whew, I see great things. I just eh, need to give this needs more time. Needs more time. But anyways, that's all. I will be back tomorrow. So definitely probably actually will not be on Christmas, for that's for sure. Um, so Thursday night is a no. Probably do a Friday afternoon instead. Okay, yeah.